Algebra 1, Section 2.6, we're dealing with the distributive property. This is an important property for you to understand, and it basically deals with multiplying things with parentheses, okay? So things on the outside of parentheses. So if I have a number on the outside of the parentheses, it really doesn't matter which side they're at, it's still equal. So if the number I'm multiplying in is on the left or the right, I do the same thing. I'm going to take that number right outside the parentheses and I'm going to give it to each. Hence the term distribute. I'm going to distribute to each. So A goes to B, okay, and A goes to C. Or you can do it this way. A goes to B, A goes to C. Either way, when A goes to B, I end up with AB. Okay, A times B. And when A is multiplied to C, then I end up with AC. Now, if there's a negative in front of that number, you have to take it all. Okay? So, same thing, it doesn't matter which side, but you have to take it all. So, negative A times B gives me negative AB. And negative A times negative C. Remember the next section, I have a negative and a positive. So, it turns it to a negative AC. So, both is a negative into a positive. So, it turns both into a negative AC. When we're dealing with number 1, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 5 and I'm going to distribute it with the 2. So 5 times 2, okay, and then I'm going to take the 5, but I'm also going to distribute it to the entire second part. So then it would be 5 times negative D. Okay? So 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times negative D, it tells me what's going to be in here, either negative or positive. Since it's 5 times negative D gives me a negative 5, it's going to be a negative 5D. So 5 times negative D gives me negative 5D. Right? I can't have numbers just floating around like that. So I need to make sure they're connected somehow. Alright? The next one is very similar, except this time it's on the right side, but it's the same thing, and I'm dealing with fractions. And when I'm multiplying fractions, I'm going to multiply the top number and then divide it by the bottom number. So I'm going to take, when I'm multiplying not two fractions together, but one whole number and one fraction. If I have two fractions, I just multiply across. But because I have one whole number, a 6 and a 1/3, and 12 and a 1/3, I'm going to multiply just the top number. So I'm going to take 1/3 and I'm going to give it to 6y. So I'm going to multiply 6 times 1 is 6, and I'm going to keep the denominator, and I'm going to bring down the y. Now, when I distribute it to the 12, I'm going to distribute it to the entire thing. So distribute to the entire thing. So negative 12 times 1 times the top 1 gives me negative 12 on top. 12 times 1 is times positive 1 is 1 over 3. Okay? So again, I distribute it, got 6 over 3, distribute it with the whole thing, I got negative 12 over 3. Okay? Then 6 over 3 gives me 2y. Okay? And negative 12 over 3 gives me a negative 4. That's my answer. Last is when I have just a negative. When I have a negative, there's a number there that's assumed, but it's just not written down, and that number is 1. So I'm going to take that negative 1 and I'm going to distribute it. So negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. And negative 1 times, remember, the whole thing, which is negative x, gives me a negative and a negative. And two negatives gives me a positive. So instead of a negative x, I'm going to have a positive x. And that's going to be my answer. So go ahead and write this down and try page 103, numbers 7 through 10. 103, numbers 7 through 10. And I'll see you in class.